A group of climbers recently reached the top of the Empire State Building without authorization. They made it past security, climbed more than 400 feet, and completed their stunt before anyone stopped them. Most people see that and ask a predictable question. How did security fail? That is the wrong question. The more uncomfortable question is this: what if security did not fail at all? What if the system worked exactly as it was built to work, but was never designed to understand every possible way someone could move through its blind spots? Because what happened was not one dramatic breakdown. It was a sequence of small, reasonable assumptions. Each layer did its job. Each layer assumed another layer would handle what it could not see, and by the time anyone realized what was happening, the outcome had already been decided. That pattern should feel familiar to anyone in medicine. Healthcare billing runs on the same logic. There is clinical work on one side, documentation in the middle, coding interpretation after that, billing teams or vendors downstream, and finally payer rules at the end. Every step looks responsible in isolation. Every handoff looks standard. Every gap is explained away as normal complexity. But no one is actually responsible for the entire chain. That is the real vulnerability. Not error, not fraud, not negligence. Fragmentation that has become so normalized it no longer looks like fragmentation. And just like the climbers finding blind spots in a heavily guarded building, revenue leakage in clinics does not usually come from one catastrophic mistake. It comes from small interpretive gaps that stack quietly on top of each other. A documentation shortcut here, a coding judgment there, a delayed clarification somewhere else. None of it dramatic, all of it cumulative. Over time, this creates a strange illusion. The system appears stable because it is constantly being repaired. Denials are worked, claims are resubmitted, adjustments are made. Everything gets handled. But handling is not the same as control. Most physicians do not feel this as failure. They feel it as background noise, extra work that never fully goes away. Revenue that feels slightly unpredictable, even when volume is stable. A system that demands effort but does not return certainty. Here is the contrarian part. Money billing systems are not broken. They are over-designed for delegation and under-designed for truth. Every added layer was meant to improve accuracy. Instead, it increased distance from the point where truth actually exists, which is the patient encounter. And distance is expensive, because the farther you move from clinical reality, the more the system depends on interpretation instead of clarity. And interpretation is where two identical visits start producing two different financial outcomes. So the real issue is not efficiency. It is alignment. Who in the system is responsible for ensuring that what happened clinically is what gets translated financially without distortion? In most clinics, the honest answer is no one end-to-end. That is the gap, not between people, between layers. And once you see it that way, the problem stops looking like billing complexity and starts looking like system design. If this resonates, look at your own workflow and identify where clinical information is first interpreted, not captured. That single point is usually where most of the downstream revenue variability begins. If you have seen this pattern in your practice, share what it looks like in your world. And if this challenges how you think about billing, send it to another physician who is still treating it like a staffing problem instead of a system problem.